Hi, Erika, and thanks for talking to me today.
Hi, Sasha. Thanks for talking to me.
Yeah, it's an honor. So why don't we start by just asking you to introduce yourself?
So I'm Erika Fülöp, lecturer in French studies at Lancaster and Delft, and I teach French at all levels, basically, and I research modern and contemporary French literature.
Fantastic. And you've recently moved to Paris to work on a project. So what exactly is it you're doing in Paris now?
Yeah, so that's related to a research project on a very contemporary literature. Well, the most contemporary perhaps that we can get. It's all about digital literature and digital culture, which I have been working on for my research and teaching for a couple of years now. And I'm in Paris because my work is still related primarily to French culture. So in order to make the next step in this direction, I came here to study a little bit more about computing and the technical background of this very contemporary literature that I'm studying and would like to do more about.
That sounds great. So what exactly is digital literature, though? You've mentioned that your project is on digital electronic literature. What exactly is that for those who don't know?
Right, so there are already the two terms which are in competition or in sometimes used or often used interchangeably, and some people define them differently, others use them interchangeably. So digital culture very broadly is basically everything that is happening online today, and we have more and more on it, about it, and of it, obviously in the contemporary context. And electronic literature is more specifically, and I use the term electronic also, not digital, because it's more specific. It's somehow changes the direction of a thing, is a kind of literature that is done using computers, not just in the sense that we are typing a Word document, but experimenting with the capabilities of the computer, using things like interactivity, generative text generation, or drawing data from the networks, and using all these elements to work with languages and ideas about languages differently than what we can do just with pen and paper.
That sounds really cool. Yeah. So how long are you going to be staying in Paris for?
So I'm here for a year. So for the calendar year, I just started in January, and the idea is to study electronic literature and its different kinds and its technical backgrounds here with a research laboratory, which is a great tradition in this field. It's called Laboratoire Paragraphe, so Paragraph Laboratory. It's existed since the 90s, and there are a couple of colleagues, artists, who are both theorists and creators of electronic literature, and who are really good guides in exploring the field more in detail.
That sounds great. Yeah. And will you be staying in touch with us here in Lancaster? So how do you think how will our students be able to benefit from your work there?
Yes, absolutely. I wouldn't want to get away entirely from Lancaster, and I couldn't do that anyway. And the whole idea is for me to be able to feed this back and use this knowledge afterwards in Lancaster. I have taught a final year optional module on digital culture already, and on the second year core module also I have a couple of sessions on this. So I hope to be able to do that better in the future in the first place. And it's more and more interesting for students also for their master's or final year projects, or even for PhD research. So it is a growing field because engaging with what the digital tools that we are using is obviously very important. We are now all using it in different ways, but we are mostly unaware of what's behind it and how we are being manipulated through these tools. And my objective also with electronic literature is to be able to use it to better understand what's behind, and better be able to demonstrate to students and ask questions and look for answers for themselves. Just increase awareness basically about this whole thing that's everywhere in our lives today.
Yeah, that sounds great. I was actually about to ask you about your longer term goals with this project, but I think you've already answered that just now, looking at these things. So what if you're looking at the future, how do you think digital literature will develop in the future, and how do you think your project will develop?
Yeah, right. So my project actually has some very concrete longer-term objectives that I will not be able to realize during this year, but hopefully this year will equip me to then bring it back to Lancaster. There are several ways in which this would happen. There is a new digital hub in Lancaster for digital humanities and arts and literature. Which already runs some cross-disciplinary modules between computing, digital humanities, and literature and history. So I am hoping to bring DELC a little bit more into it, and vice versa. So we will be more presenting it through interdisciplinary modules as well, in which I would participate and which I would create with colleagues. And another big project is to set up an actual electronic literature server in Lancaster, which would be a center for a lab to work on projects from both the computing sides and the languages and literatures side for our students and from the students from the other departments and colleagues, of course.
That sounds amazing. Really, really exciting times ahead for us here. Well, good luck with the project, and I hope you have a great time in Paris. And yeah, keep us updated. And thanks for talking to me today.
Absolutely, thank you. And anyone interested in what I'm up to learning and finding my way through this new language of code and everything, I have a website which I created, so I'll be able to post that.
I will definitely share that in the comments on YouTube.
Okay.
Fantastic. Thank you very much, Erika.
Cheers.
Bye.